hard to beat a team 3 times in a season, Mike, but you've done it with North Alabama, each time by double digits, and this one, awfully impressive, 96-76. You shoot 61% as a team, but we got to start with Joe Larrabee, who was just absolutely red hot out there.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I told him at halftime is that I felt like everybody that played really contributed, did really positive things. Alex, I thought Alex played great. Gave us really, made a couple of big threes, which he hasn't been doing as much lately, and you just go down the line. I felt like everybody we had, Brad has been money off the bench. If they had a 6th Man of the Year award in the league, I think Brad would have a really good shot at being that. If there's somebody else better, I'm not sure who it is. Well, he's coming off the bench and doing what he does. 9
of his past 11 against this team too. He just seems to love that purple. I know he sees that purple and just starts firing.
That's his high school color, so I think that may have something to do with
it. It was great to watch Joe Larrabee. It was great to watch you guys just offensively. You could see the movement was there, the in and out, and the way that you handled a very aggressive team, but you really kind of got them in some rotations where they didn't like it, and you got a really good look.
Well, and then the other thing, if you'd have told me before the game, because watching the film of our last game against them, Adam was on fire from 3. He hit like 4 or 5 threes against him. If you'd have told me he was going to go 0 for 7 from 3 tonight, I'd have been concerned going into the game, but he was 7 for 7 around the basket, and he made so many big plays, big passes. When they got him in foul trouble, just did everything you want your post player to do. And like we talked about before the game, we don't want to live and die by the 3. Want to move it around, and even though Adam did miss it, I felt like most of Adam's threes were the kind we want him to take. A lot of them were late in the shot clock, which is what we want. We want to look. If we don't get stuff earlier in the offense, if we don't get it inside, if Jeff doesn't get a penetration kick, then we take that late one, and usually more times than not that late shot clock 3 goes in because there's no pressure. You got to take it. Coach isn't going to be mad at me if you miss it. I think it's one of the least pressure shots in the game when that shot clock's running down. So I think we did a pretty good job overall there, and again, I hate to keep harping on Adam's 0 for 3, and the thing is, Adam and Jeff were 1 for 11 for 3, and we're 15 for 33, so we're almost 50% with our 2 all.
Everyone else is 14 to 22.
With our all conference guys having kind of an off night from 3, so hopefully they'll be hot in Birmingham.
Well, that was the thing is D-Ball. This probably wasn't one of his better games. He still finishes with 21 points, 7 assists. He's making all kinds of plays. When he's in the block like that, because he had different looks against a very physical group, when they don't double him, do you want him just to take it and score? Do you want him to keep, or do you want him to set up guys? What do you want from him?
Well, and I think the thing that you could see at the end, Trentman, who is more comfortable playing, has been here with Adam. They're both juniors together. We got 2 or 3 really easy baskets there where when they really got overloaded on Adam, where he slipped it to Alex under the basket, and we got some easy buckets there. And that's the one that Jake's not quite there yet as a freshman, first-year freshman. He's not looking for some of those. Sometimes he's standing outside when he ought to be slicing underneath and getting those angles.
Get that back door, another cut.
Yeah, we'd much rather have that, obviously, than a kick-out 3. I mean, a kick-out 3 is not bad if you're wide open, but we'll take the layup anytime.
Well, it's a thing of beauty, too, when you watch D-Ball and another UCLA cut down, that zipper right down, and you see Larkin or somebody else make. When that thing is on, now, I know it's tough to officiate these games because guys get a little bump here and there, and that can throw the timing of that play all off, and it's hard to call every one of those.
Right, you're not going to get every hold call, and people definitely hold.
There's no question.
When you're and the thing is, if you're playing against us, if you're a guy and one of our guys has a half a step on you on one of those cuts, and what we do, it's almost like a defensive back.
That's what I'm saying. It's exactly what it's like.
Taking a pass interference rather than giving up the touchdown, and so there's a lot of that goes on. And like you said, you're not going to get every call like that.
You're playing a team in North Alabama, and they really came out to start that second half desperate. And it looked like you guys maybe were a little taken aback by how, because they were hungry on that offensive glass. They were killing that offensive glass.
They did the whole game. I mean, it was a miracle the first half because they had 11 offensive rebounds, and I think they said it had 2 points on second chance points. I'm like, how did that happen? I'm like, guys, and we talked about it. They're so athletic and so physical. I mean, there were times where I felt like we went to sleep on the rebounding, but for the most part, it's just really hard for us to keep them off the glass, and it's hard for us with most teams to do that. But we obviously did it enough to hang in there.
Well, and the other thing that I really think, when you've got a guy, we haven't even talked that much about Jeff Larkin and what he's done,
right.
But he ends up on a quote-unquote quiet night with 11 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists in the middle of everything. Kind of hurt himself a little bit at the end of the first half.
Right.
May not have been 100%, but he's just a terrific player.
I think the biggest thing for us as a team with Jeff, when he has 6, 7 assists and more, that's when we're our best, because he creates so much, and I feel like he's almost like an option quarterback that I think a lot of times he keeps the ball when he brings so much to him defensively, and when he makes those reads, and he had a couple where they'd really kind of collapsed on him and he got bumped a couple of times, but hung on to it and found Joe on those back cuts, and that's another one of those examples where a lot of times when he's driving, the other players get focused on him, and that's where they miss the guys like Joe got 2 or 3
Absolutely.
back cut.
And it's so tough because when you're set, if you're running like a pick and roll with Jeff and D-ball,
right.
I mean, you got to pick your poison there depending on what he does,
right.
And then you can get that second side guy that's wide open in the corner, right. Because somebody else comes out to dive in. I mean, that's a
right.
really tough thing to stop.
And a lot of Joe, Joe had 6 for 10 from 3, which obviously was big, but he also had 6 other field goals, and at least 2 or 3 of them were backdoor layups from Jeff. He gets a lot from Adam, and he probably got 1 or 2 like that too. But he got several of those from Jeff tonight, and that, I think the thing that we all felt like when we got in the locker room, I feel like we're playing the best we've played all year right now. These last 2 or 3 games, going down to Montgomery and winning that game by 20, taking care of Union here the other night in a game we had to have where there wasn't any pressure on them, because their season was ending, and they had a couple of senior, one from Memphis, who's just kind of out there, saying, hey, this is my last game. Let's
playing
fly.
Free and loose.
Absolutely.
That's tough.
And we're playing for home court. So, taking care of these teams the last 3 games the way we have is encouraging, but, West Florida is obviously going to be low. They're playing as good as anybody in the region right now. So
you got to love the response there from your team when you lose that game to Delta State.
Right.
And as you mentioned, one of the worst losses, just the way that they're losing a 4-point lead with 9 seconds
right.
left, and just you could have gone a lot of different directions as a
right.
team, but
sure.
the fact that you're playing your best basketball really speaks to that leadership
right.
in the locker room.
And really, the thing I told them too is that night we really played a good game that night. We did good things to have that lead against Delta, and we just did everything and deserved to win the game, but we didn't. And again, I think our leadership, our veterans, showed what they're made of a little bit, that we were able to bounce back. Because, Lord, I'm telling you, going down there to Montgomery after losing that game, and the way Montgomery really took us apart in the game here in January. The good news is we seem to be, hopefully we'll look back on this and say, boy, we really peaked at the right time. But we've played 3 really good games, and the thing about it like you said earlier, you beat North Al by 20. And if you look at North Al the last 2-3 weeks, they've really been good. They've been playing. They lost to us, and they lost to Valdosta. They beat Huntsville solidly at home. They beat West Alabama. You go down the line, Montevallo, they had several really good wins in the last 3 to 4. One, I think, like 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 7 games here in the last 3 weeks. So they've been playing pretty well, and that was a concern. You played with a lot of
discipline. Defensively, apart from that little stretch to begin the second half,
right.
A lot of good discipline because they have such great athletes. They drive, and just consistently driving, trying to kick out or trying to finish, and you got to stay low on those pumps and all that stuff.
Yeah, and the problem is too. Again, we're down here and we're making 4 passes and we're back cutting and we're all. And they come down, they give Stafford the ball, and he just goes.
And he's got range from the Pirates hat out here.
And we've got no answer. We got guys trying to stay in front of the kid, and he is just so athletic and such a good player. And he's capable of making those. If he gets to the rim, he's scoring over our smaller guys. If Adam helps, he's dumping it off to the bigger guy. So it was, and we went zone for a while, trying to break it up a little bit with that, and just tried to mix it up a little, and we finally got some stops. But I thought he was going to bring him back single-handedly there for a while.
He was terrific.
Yeah.
Now, last thing is you guys start to think about this weekend, and you make the trip, and you got everything to play for, as we talked about. I mean,
we said we all do now.
Now it's three straight wins in that quest for 11. So you got eight more left, and mark this down in the locker room.
That's right.
What do you guys have to do better if you're going to win? You're going to beat West Florida, and you're going to make that run, win this conference tournament.
Well, obviously the simple thing is not give them 22 offensive rebounds. That was a little ugly. Like I said, a lot of it. That they're just so athletic. West Florida.
They were relentless too.
The thing is, you get to this point in the Gulf South Conference, the teams that are still playing, the teams that are going to come in there are all great rebounding teams. Valdosta's always been a great rebounding team. They're always tough for us to keep off the glass. West Florida is one of the best rebounding teams in the region. So, and clearly one of the best teams in the region. I mean, they've had an amazing year. Both of those teams that we're potentially looking at in Birmingham if we're fortunate enough to get to Sunday. It's going to take extremely good basketball to win this weekend, but we're capable of it, and it's just a matter of going down there and getting it done.
I'll tell you what, congratulations on a terrific win, and I tell you what, if you can get 31 more from Joe Larrabee, that'd be handy.
That's always helpful.
That's certainly helpful, and if you can get the guys not named Jeff Larkin and Adam Deball to make 14 of 22 from beyond the arc, that's
Adam's
pretty helpful too.
He'll be in here working. I know he'll be in here doing a lot, getting shots up tomorrow, and Jeff will too. And hopefully they'll fall for us this weekend in Birmingham. If they do that, then we'll be talking about getting ready to play next weekend.
There's a lot to like for sure, Mike Nienaber. Congratulations again, and terrific stuff from the Bucks tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on Bucks Broadcast, and thanks to my man Eli Savoy, who let me jump in and do a little bit. Thanks to the good doctor who stepped in, which I got to tell you, I didn't know Dr. Sorelli was going to come over here and say hello to me, but it was very nice and terrific guy.
He's a great basketball coach. You can't have a better president.
He loves basketball.
I'm telling you,
the guy knows.
He loves it, and loves it so much that he likes to come over here and
he loves the game.
Yeah, so it's a great thing.
Well, I was happy to have him. It was terrific stuff.